Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little different, but it's definitely one you all have been asking for. For starters, I do have the Harrods collection, the Parfum collection, Parfum. I have the H and the Harrods exclusive. There hasn't been any coverage of this on YouTube, and I know a lot of people have been asking for it since you saw me haul it. So I am going to do the video on these two, how to tell them apart, which one you might want, what's the difference between them. And then I also have a update on my relationship with Roja Parfums and my posts that I made. So hang on for that. Okay, so I know you guys have been asking for some kind of update, what's going on. I made a very provocative kind of post. I kind of put that out there, so it's my responsibility to address that for you. It's not right to do that and then not follow up. And I actually took notes. I don't normally have notes for a video, but I do have notes for this because I don't want to forget to say anything. If I look all weird, I went to the eye doctor this morning and got my eyes dilated, which you all know how wonderful that is and how you're like blinded for like 6 hours after. He only dilated one, thank goodness, but I'm so blinded in this eye and it looks like I'm drugged out here with or I'm having a stroke with like this big one eye like that. But I'm gonna try my best to read this. So for starters, you may or may not know, if you're here from the very beginning, you know I started my channel because of my love for Roja Parfums. I had been looking and I was trying to buy a lot of them and some of the exclusives, and most of them I couldn't get my nose on and was really relying on YouTubers to give me an idea of which ones I may or may not like. I do gravitate to traditionally feminine fragrances or unisex. I cannot wear masculine fragrances. They just don't sit right on my skin. So that is a huge piece of information I look for. And there were literally only men reviewing Roja. That was it. I couldn't find any women, let alone the Parfum collection being reviewed. So I just blind bought a whole bunch of the travel sizes and said, okay, I'll do it, because there's like this giant void and I knew it was a resource that I wanted, and certainly there had to be other people looking for that. So I created my channel on that. Since then, there has been PR sent out since the Essence de Parfum collection, the purple bottles, was launched. They did send that out to women. I can't say that they were all really Roja fans or even people really familiar with his house and his works and his other perfumes and how that collection fit in. I mean, some people are amazing at doing their research, but you know, they hadn't really tried a whole lot from the house and couldn't really relate it into there. A lot of them, it was the only one from the house that they had tried. So again, I felt like it was this little bit of a void there. And I do have a huge passion and reverence for that house. I truly love the perfumes. I have a big collection. I have 27, 28, 29 full bottles. I had a count the other day, and I had also received another shipment. So I think like 29 full bottles plus even more in travel size of other fragrances. So I have, you know, a very substantial collection from him, all purchased with my own money. I know a lot of creators get the products for free and that's the only ones they have, is the ones that were sent them, where I have a true passion where I put my money where my mouth is, and I love it enough that I'm willing to pay for these. The four brands that I speak of, Fragrance du Bois, Roja, Xerjoff, House of Sillage, I purchased those large collections with my own money. I have since received a few bottles from House of Sillage after they noticed my passion for the brand. But that vast majority of their perfumes I purchased with my own money because I have a true passion for them. So with that said, when you have a true passion and your heart is invested in something, you're very vulnerable to getting hurt. easily when you truly put your heart out on the plate. And in addition to that, to preface to this, two other things that just kind of complicate things is, one, I have two addresses. I have my personal address that I use when I purchase these. I do have a PR address and a business address for my channel. There's not a whole lot of overlap there. I can always tell if a company's sending me PR because it goes to that address. And Roja Dove has two separate corporations and they really don't communicate. RojaDove.com, everyone over there, their marketing team, and then also the Roja Dove Haute Perfumery, they don't talk. And there's this miscommunication, and I didn't understand that conversations I had been having all year were disjointed and not all kind of mixed in there with information and background and continual conversations. So it made for just a perfect situation, perfect storm for miscommunications. I should not have made public the grievances that I was having. I only found it relevant because Roja Dove Parfums is so prevalent in all my videos. I have done a lot of hauls for it. I have done a lot of reviews for it that other people haven't done. I've done collection overviews of that house and the collections there. And again, I said I started the channel because of it. So I did find it relevant if I was going to suddenly not speak about them or declutter them. So I thought it relevant, but I do value my privacy. I do pride myself in keeping my channel a drama-free zone and a pleasurable outlet during very stressful times for a lot of people in the world, not even just our country. In this world, it's very stressful times, and most people are looking for a pleasant outlet that is devoid of all that, where they can come and, you know what, it's just perfume. And I take pride in keeping all that out of it and it just being about this and an actual place where everyone unites on a common passion, not on division. I try to focus on that, on unity. And I failed. I actually brought attention to strife and division, and I shouldn't have. I failed. I am human. I am flesh and blood, and I failed at that. On that, Jack is human too. He gets flooded with a lot of communication, and he had a bad day. He had reached his threshold with other people, and he lashed out at me, where I found it was just horrible timing, because right when I was hurt is right when he lashed out at me, and I was so blindsided by that and by the harshness and just couldn't fathom where that was coming from. And the one or two other people I shared the full communications with was also baffled. Like, that was really harsh and left field. What was that all about? So, you know, sometimes you just need to get on the telephone, which not a lot of people do these days. There's just so much room for miscommunications and tone and all of that when things are in email and texts and all of that. So all it took was one phone call. But even before that phone call, I took it down because I had reflected on it and realized it was not something that I wanted to air. If I'm going to say, you know, I'm not carrying them, I've done it before. I've been turned off by a brand and for whatever personal reason, and just not covered them anymore. It's just not something that I feel should be of interest to other people. It's not relevant to other people, and it shouldn't affect their opinion, so I just don't mention it. And I should not have mentioned this. I really shouldn't have. The good news is, you know, sometimes strife can make you tighter. It can actually build a relationship by getting through it constructively, which is exactly what happened. So I'm actually happy to say that our bond is even better. And they appreciate me. They now know like how much I love Roja Dove and how hurt I was. So it's all good. It's all good. And I do have some more Roja videos for you. And let's start with this one, because I have gotten a lot of requests for this one, and I just haven't had the time to do this one. I've had so many other things that I'm a shopper. I have all these hauls and things to do. So let's do this one. The Harrods in the black box. Now this one comes in the 100 ml. The other one comes in 50, but we have this one. And yeah, he was kind enough to sign my bottles. I don't know if you can see that. You can see that he signed this and the box. So the Harrods exclusive says it was created for the type of woman who might find regularly shopping in the hallowed halls of Harrods. The exclusive perfume embodies that very sense of style and elegance she displays. I do have a fresh strip. I have worn these on each hand. I have sprayed strips. I find that when I spray strips, I can break it apart a little better, but I get the actual vibe and the perfume on my arm. Get a new fresh one here. Yeah, it's a very like fresh, clean, powdery. They both have that powdery violet tone that he does tend to have in a lot of his Parfum collection perfumes. I don't know if I did that again or not. I do love the Fine Mist, and it does have the green for Harrods Swarovski crystals in here, which I absolutely love. The metal plate with also green detail. And you'll always have the embellishment of Roja inscripted here. There are a lot of things I can go into the bottle if you're worried about authenticity. He's always incorporating things in here and along with the lot number on the bottom. And I do get, oh, that was a freshness there too, like a citrus. I got like a lime kind of bergamot. But I do notice on the skin that leather note comes through at the dry down a little more, where I don't get that on paper at all. And you absolutely need to wear Rojas on skin. They are very, very different. So you get that like powdery cosmetics counter kind of vibe with the vanilla and the sandalwood creamy and the violet giving that powderiness. The leather is subtle. This is not like a leather forward fragrance. It's very subtle in there. It really just gives balance. And that cherry note is really like a fun cherry. Screwed up which was which. Yeah, okay. All right. The cherry keeps it brighter. And the notes, you know, he uses like 1,001 notes that each and so incredibly well blended that he really just makes these creations that you're better off describing a vibe when it comes to the Parfum. When it comes to the Pour Homme collections, I do find them to be more about pronounced notes like booziness and leathers and or like these vetivers and or aromatics and sheep. Like I do find that they are a little easier to extrapolate some notes. Some of the higher end unisex ones he has and the Parfum, like they're so well blended that it's really hard to just pull notes from it. This one is definitely more mature and established smelling than this one, which is really interesting to me, given that this one is more affordable, kind of like younger. But it has, to me, it's so funny because I think two other people found this one to be more youthful. I found this one to be more youthful. I'm the anomaly here. But I found this one to have a certain elegance. You know, I love to pieces Nua. Nua is a much thicker, heavier cashmere blanket and bubble radiating around you, much denser air around you. This is a medium, light medium kind of weight around you. Now the H is actually on sale on the Roja Dev site. So this one is 500 British pounds or $4.95. 500 British pounds. This one is $2.75 for half that. So it's actually, that would be like $5.50 for the 100, a little bit more money. You can see the juice is much richer juice. To the Harrods is very light. Now, spraying this one, the exclusive, the H. Now, I find this one to be more youthful in a fruity floral kind of way. I wanted to say like this cherry kind of note, which actually there's cherry in this one. But what it is that black currant and peach and the florals kind of gave me this like cherry blossom kind of vibe. Man, I think I like this one better. Slightly different moods. This one is more fun, flirty, fruity floral-like, yet still has a little bit of that powdery vibe going about it, that Roja Dove kind of vibe. This one definitely has that violet powdery, which gives it a little bit more of a mature feel, that like made-up lady with a lot of cosmetics and perfume on and jewelry and just this very made-up kind of look, like just drenched in luxury. Whereas this one has a little bit more of a carefree vibe to it with those fruits in there. You know, all those notes like say hello to me really nicely, like hello. Those are my notes. So I really like them both. I find this one easier for me to wear, a little more approachable to me, because you get that fruitiness in there. You don't have the leather in there either, which this one just has a little bit more luxury and density to it. You've got the leather in there, you have that violet in there and the benzoin radiating out. Something a little more formal. There's something oddly, because this one is a darker juice and the smaller one like more expensive and this is lighter. It's weird to me. It's like backwards what I would expect. I would expect this to be the denser, more luxurious feeling, but actually this does to me. But in any case, I really like them. Definitely different vibes. I lean toward this one. The fruitiness in here stays. It did come out like that. I guess that blackcurrant was smelling almost like a bright cherry. It was not a syrupy cherry or a sharp cherry. That's why it felt more like a cherry/cherry blossom. But saying blackcurrant actually makes more sense. I didn't look at the notes. I wasn't thinking of the notes. So that kind of makes sense to me that it was a blackcurrant that I was getting that juicy fruit from, that juicy dark red black fruit. And I love blackcurrant. So that comes through. They both definitely have that DNA that you find in all his feminine creations. Yeah, there's no oud in this one. The oud is in this one. So this is definitely a deeper, richer, more decadent kind of vibe on it. Just more formal feeling is what it is. It's a little bit more of, plebes, get away from me. It's a little, this one's a little, dare I say snootier? I don't know. It's a little more like keep your distance from me kind of fragrance about it. It gives that air about it, where this one is a much more gregarious kind of cheerful, social, jovial kind of vibe that it gives off because of those fruits versus all these leathers and musks and labdanum and what else was in there? Cypriol and frankincense and ambergris, musk, like sandalwood, oud, like just these much richer notes are in here. I hope that helps you guys at all because they're very different fragrances. But again, if you love Roja the way I do, it does have that common denominator of his DNA in there that I just love, and it's just different moods. I wear different fragrances. I'm like that. So there's a time and place for all of them. Yeah, it definitely gives that stay an arm's length away from me kind of vibe. Like, you're not important enough to come talk to me kind of vibe. And this one is, hey, how are you? What's your name? You know, that kind of thing. I don't want these near the fireplace. I'm so sensitive to my perfumes. I'm so protective of them. Like, I don't like them near heat or anything. So I'm a little worried that I have a fireplace on right here. It'll only be for a minute though, I guess. But anyway, that is my take on these to kind of break them down a little bit. There's not a huge process. They dry down pretty quickly. The longevity is amazing. This one projects a lot more, I think, than this one, which makes sense. It's a little bit more of a gregarious kind of fragrance. So it does make sense that it would project more than this one, which is like Don't, you know, talk to the hand kind of thing. Yeah. There's always excellent longevity with his fragrances. They do typically keep a closer bubble. That's just his MO. He does keep them where there's a little less of a projection in his fragrances, but the longevity is eternal on his fragrances. I hope that helped. Let me know down below if you have any other questions on them or any other fragrances from Roja that you want me to go through, because you know I have pretty much all of them. I think I'm going to do one on the Parfums de la Nuit 1, 2, 3 versus them. It's always nice seeing a female perspective on them because, you know, my chemistry is a little bit different and sometimes they react a little differently on my skin. And there's ones that I want to know if they work well for me from a female perspective, because I do like my feminine leading fragrances. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Plus, I like to know which ones I like on a man. I do have all 3 of them in travel size, so I am planning on doing that one. Let me know if there's other ones you want. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah.